St. Louis made a decision.
Yeah. Yes.
From all corners of Missouri's 1st district.
Yes.
Our communities have embraced a bold, fearless vision of real change that is regular, everyday, where regular, everyday people like us can feel it. Today, the people won.
Oh my God. This win is unbelievable. Cori Bush, Missouri's 1st congressional district, in a primary challenge against Lacy Clay, a 19-year incumbent who has held the seat. His father held the seat before him. It is a dynasty that's held that seat for over 50 years. Lacy Clay was defeated by Cori Bush. This is such a shocking... this is above and beyond any other win. It's more shocking than Jamal Bowman's win this year. I would contend that it's even more shocking than AOC's win against Joe Crowley. We are talking about a race here. Look, I'm going to get more into it. I know I'm all over the place right now because I'm still sort of reeling from this victory. But we are talking about a win that was not getting media attention. AOC didn't even back Cori Bush. Cori Bush and her campaign, her volunteer base, the groups that backed her, they did this. They took down a dynasty in St. Louis. So Cori Bush, in case you don't know, is I made notes here because there's so many things to mention. But Cori Bush is a progressive, black, single mother, working class, nurse, pastor, one of the lead Black Lives Matter activists in Ferguson, one of the original Justice Democrats, and a COVID-19 survivor. And she took down 19-year incumbent Lacy Clay. This is I don't even I'm still in shock. So here is before I even get to the result here. At the beginning of this when the votes were coming in and they were being counted, Lacy Clay was up by about 25 points. 25 points because of the mail-in ballots largely favored Lacy Clay. But because voting day votes favored Cori Bush, she ended up coming back from that 25-point deficit to defeat Lacy Clay 48.6% to 45.5%. Incredible. Cori Bush's first tweet after winning: "Not me, us." Taking on the Bernie Sanders legacy here. It's about the people, not about her. Which, by the way, I should mention as well, Bernie Sanders did back Cori Bush, one of the few elected officials to actually come out publicly to back Cori Bush. So good on him there. But Cori Bush, her volunteers, her campaign, they're the ones that did this. Now, let me give you some other... There's so much. There's too much to mention. There's too much to mention. But this is from last week, I believe. But Cori Bush on the discussing how the wins in New York helped her. So AOC's win, Jamal Bowman's win, helped her race here, saying, quote, "People just automatically started paying attention to us. We had an uptick in fundraising, an uptick in volunteers, and more media. That was a great boost in the final weeks." But there wasn't all that much. I'm sure locally, there was a little media, but it wasn't like in Jamal Bowman's race, where Elliot Engel, the man that he defeated, had that hot mic moment that made news about Elliot Engel saying that, essentially saying that I'm only here because I'm in a primary challenge. Cori Bush didn't have any moments like that. Like Lacy Clay didn't make the news in any big way to damage himself. This is just pure hard work that got this done. And this is Cori Bush's second time trying to defeat Lacy Clay. She ran against him in 2018 and lost by about 20 points. This time came out victorious. Let me read here a little more about how incredible this is. So Bush's win is monumental in a number of ways. Unlike Bowman, she did not have the luxury of an opponent who fled his district and told a hot mic that he only wanted to speak at a Black Lives Matter rally because he had a primary to worry about. When Engel lost to Bowman, an anonymous Democrat argued to the New York Post that his loss was a fluke and tied his race and his lack of energy in office. Quote, "It doesn't show AOC's power. It shows that New York voters want demographic changes in the House," the Democrat was quoted saying. "They don't want old white guys who won't do anything, not only old white guys, but old white guys who only work when they're up for re-election. People are punishing these kinds of lawmakers. If you're old, white, and lazy, you're going to get kicked out." Clay, however, is not old. He just turned 64, a decade younger than Engel. He's also not white or lazy. Clay did not remotely take Bush for granted, launching a full-scale negative campaign to try to take her down, and has been focused on her as a threat since her loss to him in 2018. He's a fixture of the community, and he and his father, Bill Clay Sr., a civil rights activist and co-founder of the Congressional Black Caucus, have continuously held the seat since the 1960s. It is really, it's impossible to put this victory into words. This victory, what this shows other Democratic lawmakers is that they can't take anything for granted now. They could have called, AOC's win a fluke. Oh, she's in, a very solid blue district in New York. Of course she's going to win that. She's a person of color, a woman. Of course she's going to win against an old white guy, Joe Crowley. Elliot Engel, of course he's going to lose. He's an old white guy. He's going to lose to Jamal Bowman. They can't do that anymore. They can't do that anymore. Lacy Clay was a fixture in that community. And Cori Bush took him down. Now, I mean, there's a lot more here to really mention, actually. Suburban Lifestyle Dream here tweeted out, Lacy Clay was not demographically unrepresentative. He was not in a district inherently favorable to primary challengers. He was not exceptionally corrupt, just the bog standard stuff. He was not an ideological outlier in the Democratic caucus, and the left just took him down. This is why this is a warning shot to every other Democratic lawmaker. If you're not going to vote with progressives, if you're not going to vote for Medicare for all, for a Green New Deal, you're going to be taken down. You're going to be taken down, just like Lacy Clay was taken down. No more excuses. There is no more way of saying, oh, just an outlier or whatever, person of color defeated a white person. That didn't happen here. That didn't happen here. Cori Bush took down a 19-year incumbent, a 50-year dynasty in Lacy Clay. Man, I'm riding high off this. Here, Lacy Clay, who might lose, this is before Cori Bush won, but Lacy Clay, who might lose the primary tonight, had a part in getting the current Republican gerrymander passed so that he could get a safer seat. Screwed over then Democratic Representative Russ Carnahan. See what Claire McCaskill had to say about it. Even Claire McCaskill discussing how Lacy Clay essentially gerrymandered his district so that it would be safer blue for him, so that he could keep his seat without having to worry about a challenge from the right, from the GOP. Well, he kept his seat safer for himself and then lost to Cori Bush. Unfriggin' believable. Sunrise Movement came out really early for Cori Bush. They had here's the endorsement from December 23rd. But here they are tweeting out last night. A literal Black Lives Matter activist is going to Congress. She ran on defund the police, also worth mentioning, Green New Deal and Medicare for All, and defeated a multi-generational political dynasty who got too close to corporate donors and too far from the needs of his district. 2020, y'all. Of course, yes, defund the police. Cori Bush also a big supporter of defund the police. Sorry, I gotta check my notes here as I'm recording this because I feel like I'm gonna miss something. There's too much, but I think I'm hitting on all the points that I wanted to hit on here. Last tweet here: Bernie Sanders, congratulations to Cori Bush on her primary victory tonight. She is a true progressive who stands with working people and will take on the corporate elite of this country when she gets to Congress. Look, credit here to Bernie Sanders. He did not have to make this endorsement. A lot of politicians, when it comes to a 50-year dynasty, a 19-year incumbent like Lacy Clay, a lot of politicians, including AOC, were too afraid to get into the mud and back Cori Bush here. Bernie Sanders wasn't, and he backed her. And they did live streams together. They were campaigning together in that way. So good on him for doing this. Now, again, I don't want to act like this is the reason she won. I don't think it is. Clearly, Cori Bush put the work in. She put the work in 2018 and unfortunately lost, but continued from 2018 on to put the work in her community. And even before that, when she was an activist, putting the work in. We're talking, again, a working class single mother, a nurse, a pastor, a COVID-19 survivor, fighting for Medicare for all, fighting for to defund the police, fighting for a Green New Deal. She's going to win, by the way, in November. So because Lacy Clay did that gerrymandering, there's a safe blue seat now. So taking down Lacy Clay was the hard part. She's going to win in November. You're going to have Cori Bush in Congress, along with the other progressives like Jamal Bowman, AOC, Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib. This is a real shift. No longer is your standard status quo corporate Democrat safe. They can no longer take anything for granted. Cori Bush won, and real change is coming.